Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. In the political discourse of our modern American era, national politics is often of particular concern, with looming questions such as the next president, who will occupy the House and Senate majority, and Supreme Court decisions dominating the public eye. While these issues are of supreme importance, the gross levels of voter focus and polarization in these areas often lead to a complete neglect of state politics. While state politics may fly under the radar, its impact is felt well before any federal decision. At this very moment in time, the state of North Carolina is facing a crisis that has never before been seen in our history. As we speak, NC prisons across the state are facing horrific staffing shortages. And while almost all 50 states of our union are in some form confronting the same problem, often very little can shift national and federal focus away from pressing cultural and international hot-button issues. This is precisely why we must address this issue at an individual state level. As early as 2020, NC DPS began to feel the onset of this emerging issue, as prisons were struck with a mass exodus of correctional and parole officers. In response to this, a touch over a year ago, the NC Department of Public Safety split into the NC DPS and the newly formed NC Department of Adult Corrections. This undertaking was made with the intent to aid and address the issue by splitting their workforce and funding to hone in their focus in their respective fields. However, in just over a year's time, neither the NC DPS nor the DAC has seen any significant positive change. And while this crisis grows and hopes for a substantive solution or punctual solution wanes, there is never a better time than now to stand as North Carolinians united and face this emergency. Our great state is chronically understaffed in its prisons. With all that said, let's take a moment to properly grasp all the statistical nuances of the issue before us. A quick look at the fiscal year 2020 shows that more than 1,700 officers left their job. This means that in 2020 alone, the NC Correctional Officer vacancy rate jumped by at least 14% from those posted in 2019. In context, North Carolina employs around 11,000 correctional officers annually. And although statistics for acceptable vacancy rates are difficult to pinpoint on a national level, concern over the issue began to rise in some niche national fields when the number hit just 20%. North Carolina currently sits at an alarming 40% vacancy rate of correctional officers. From recent interviews with ex-correctional officers and prison wardens, disincentives of prison work vary from being forced to take on more overtime, increased prison violence, during 2020, COVID-19 related issues, and exceptionally poor wages. Among these issues lies the crux of the problem: CO's unenviable pay grade. North Carolina leads the nation at the forefront of insufficient pay, on average anywhere from $36,000 to $40,000, $4,000 below the national average. Perhaps this can be justified by NC's high poverty rates and weak tax base. However, many questions arise when NC receives the 9th highest federal aid, while being number 14 on the poverty scale. Further budgetary questions arise when reports of $1.17 billion in departmental funding went unspent and were reverted in fiscal year 2023. All this is to say that the money is clearly there and within reach. A quick look around the nation shows that just one state is at the forefront of low understaffing. Pennsylvania currently touts a 1% officer vacancy rate, offering $66,000 for COs a year. North Carolina's largest issue in attracting staff is budgetary, and the budget is there to address the issue. At this moment in time, there is no reason to assume that any fault is on the part of the NCDAC. Therefore, the clear next step that must follow is budgetary legislation passed by the House in the budget for fiscal year 2025, appropriated to the NC Department of Adult Corrections for the express purpose of increasing pay for correctional officers in the state of North Carolina. In conclusion, the state of North Carolina faces more than a staffing issue. It faces an issue of the mismanagement of funds, an issue that can easily and should be rectified by the NC General Assembly. Thank you all for your time.